All right, ladies, gentlemen, witches, bitches, welcome back. Today, Shaft dropped the promo materials, trailer, and information for the fourth Madoka Magica film, Walpurgisnacht Rising, set to air in Japan and most likely around the world, at least in selected theaters, sometime this winter. I am Clear and Sweet, a self-proclaimed magical girl scholar who has the claim of speaking perhaps the most amount of volume on Madoka Magica as a franchise on YouTube. You can check my playlist if you haven't already, some 16 and a half hours of me talking about shot composition, directing choices, thematic analysis, all that kind of really fun jazz. And I'd like to talk to you a bit about what I'm going to be doing on the channel in relation to this film, give you my first impressions here, and go through a little bit of the symbology and what we are teased with in this show. I am first very excited for this. Everything we have seen so far about Walpurgisnacht Rising seems to be A plus tier, Beatty, self-referential in a lot of great ways, very interesting conceptually, and the right kind of madness that you would come to expect from the long-awaited fourth Madoka film. And I will be continuing to make content on Madoka Magica in breaking down this film and talking to many, many great guests about this film whenever it airs this winter. So please do subscribe so you won't miss any of the Madoka Magica dialogue that we're going to be having here on Clear and Sweet. Anyway, let's get over to what was released today. This is the poster first promo image of Walpurgisnacht no Kaiten. So we've got a couple things here. First off, I want to look at it in some depth, talk about the symbols here. I guess the first thing that we want to notice, we've got the Homu versus Homu showdown. That's the first thing that jumps out here. These are both Homura, ostensibly. I guess we can get to some theories on maybe it's not Homura, or maybe it's a different form of Homura, or what could that even mean. But the first things I'm going to point out immediately, this appears to be Homucifer due to the smug grin, and this appears to be episode 12 Homura, which I will call for the rest of this video Homura Prime, because you can see she's wearing Madoka's red ribbon, which is the characteristic calling card of Homura in episode 12. This alone, conceptually, has me hyped as hell. It's Gen Urobuchi realizing that there's a discrepancy between Homucifer and Homura's values in episode 12. That alone is enough to sell me on this film. That is literally my main complaint with Rebellion. You can go watch my breakdown on how I would change Rebellion. And a lot of it comes down to just acknowledge Homura in episode 12 and how she was different. Okay, big thing that you're not going to notice. Big thing. We're looking. We're not talking about this thing in the foreground here. We're talking about this. Do you see this back here? This, I'm zooming in on it, right? You know what that is? Yeah, that's the place Homura leapt from in episode 12, the crane, when she spoke to Kyubey after Madoka changed the world. Yep, yep. That big reference has me hyped. Okay, what do we got? Oh, yeah. So let's talk about this thing here because for most of this, we don't really know what's going on here. This is ostensibly a weapon. I don't know. It's on Homura Prime's arm. Who knows? This is in the shape of a telephone, something we'll see when we get into the trailer. An old timey, turn dial phone before push dial phones, and the receiver for that. And we see here there's also encased in it some type of. It looks like a spine with either ribs or legs coming off of it. It evokes a centipede or a millipede. However, those are animals that do not have skeletons. So, what do we got going on in this vial test tube thing in the centerpiece of the phone dial? No idea. It's clearly front and center to be interesting and baity, and there will be some significance to it in the film, I'm sure. Right now, the best I could say is maybe it goes into time manipulation, maybe it goes into the multiple girls that Homucifer wronged in some way, which may be a theme we'll get to later that comes up in a lot of stuff. Just repetition here in the different sets of mandibles coming off of the spine imagery. We also could possibly interpret this in the context of the salamander. The salamander, a large image in Madoka Magica Rebellion when it came to Homura first, and then that salamander, if you'll remember, is quashed by Homu Lily. I have a couple pictures here. Let's open these up. Here you go. This is from Rebellion. This is the salamander imagery when we see it when Homo Lily spawns from the eggs. Homer has the last line of "I couldn't even say goodbye to you" in the end. The salamander cries, and then it is exploded as Homo Lily is manifest. And then, of course, the salamander goes on to be this large extended symbol for Homucifer. The salamander has been given a lot of attention and fits very nicely in with... God damn it, am I not recording? Okay, I am recording. Just double checking. The salamander fits very nicely in with the symbology of Homucifer. This salamander, a lot of analysis has been done on this in the context of Rebellion, but just to recap here, it's an animal that is associated with fire and being immune to fire. Homer's name meaning to burn passionately, right? It's also a animal that is associated with death and rebirth. Reborn as Homucifer, she wears it as an earring as Homucifer. So in that context, everything that we would associate with the salamander or lizard head fits very nicely with Homura first, and then Homucifer later on as sort of an associated symbol. And that is something that the trailer makes reference to again and again. So we're going to be keeping this one in mind. What I think is really interesting is that in this shot, it's associated with Homura Prime, which is very interesting. If it was destroyed by Homu Lily and then reborn in Homucifer, maybe there's a battle for the control of the salamander or that imagery. And associating it with the two separate entities now of Homucifer and Homura Prime is very interesting. All right, that's not the most interesting thing in this poster, though. Well, it is very interesting. Before we move off Homura, I want to acknowledge the leggings here, the Zetai Ryoiki on Homura Prime, which fine, normal, expected, right? We have inverted leggings on who is ostensibly Homucifer. We have a new uniform for the schools. That might just be a redesign. I don't put too much weight on that. But the inverted leggings, a lot of the imagery that we're going to see and a lot of people's readings on the internet so far after one day into knowing some information about this film is associating the Homucifer-esque character with some representation of Walpurgisnacht. And I think here the inverted leggings could be seen as a very good symbol for either Homucifer's inverted intentions or the fact that Walpurgisnacht is always shown what should be upside down or what we would consider upside down. So perhaps that's a symbol pointing towards associating this version of a Homucifer, if it is Homucifer, with Walpurgisnacht in some way. Just to contrast it visually with Homura Prime, I think that's a very good symbol there. All right, that's not the most interesting thing. We see this. Well, there's a bird cage and some stairs going up here. This is very Revolutionary Girl Utena, which we will have something to say on that later on. But here is the most interesting thing. Do you see this? Do you know what this is? This is Madoka. Yeah, you said Madoka Kaname. Wow, you're right. But it's Madoka Kaname in her what you call it? Concept movie design. Yep, there we go. This is the first, not the last, reference to the Madoka Magica concept movie from, God knows how many years ago now, that we're going to see in this. So, fingers crossed, big fingers crossed, that we see Madoka in Princess Tutu cosplay, and we also see Mommy's galactic railgun sometime in Walpurgisnacht Kaiten. But who knows? I'm not really holding my breath super much for that. All right. I think that's everything I want to go over here. I don't know the symbolism behind these bony fingers in the mouthpiece of the phone receiver that Homer Prime is handling. I don't really see a ton else that jumps out to me just on the poster image. Maybe the salamander head being crystal, but again, I think everything related to this is going to be just so visually baity in this time to be like, oh man, what's going on with that? And there's not really any context for it, so we're gonna keep on keeping on. We're gonna head on over to the trailer, which I have downloaded, and hopefully we will not get copyright stricken here. I'm gonna turn the volume down a little bit until we need it later, and we're gonna go through this trailer just off the top of our heads here. Immediately, we see the phone ringing. This, I thought, was a symbol. Let's wait till we see Lucifer answer it. So we manifest the phone receiver here, right, in the first shot of the trailer. I thought this was a symbol that I remembered from somewhere in the series, but from going briefly over the series and briefly over Rebellion again, I don't believe there's a telephone that looks like this anywhere in Rebellion or the series. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I know that Homura talks on her cell phone in Rebellion quite a lot of times, and the giving a call, could be interpreted as some sort of symbol. But I believe this imagery that we see in the poster and then we see in the first shot of the trailer is not inherently associated with anything prior in the series. Then we are going to say what we missed here. Did we see it? Yup, that is... Okay, a couple things. Ostensibly Homura's arm, right? We're going to jump around a bit here, but yes, this is ostensibly Homura's arm. That is the salamander that has been associated with Lucifer throughout all of Rebellion. And we see it manifesting using some imagery that we would be pretty familiar with in Madoka Magica into a telephone. And this makes sense for what we see next. We see somebody calling this character, which is ostensibly, again, Lucifer sitting on the astrolabe here. We can see further that they are associated with the salamander once again. And we see the black feathers here. Again, something we saw in Lucifer's wings. So a lot of Lucifer coding here. It certainly looks like Homura or in her Lucifer form. And the lines that she says, "Can you fight against the curse of the world?" really feel like Lucifer as big bad. Or the movie is positioning Lucifer as big bad. That the viewer, this is said directly to the viewer, "Can you fight against the curse of this world?" zooms in on her. "Can you fight against the curse of this world?" Like she's challenging you, the viewer, to fight against the curse of this world or take down Lucifer. So I guess we are, as viewers, to be positioned in the mind space that we're going to take out Lucifer, who is mocking us almost, that we're to fight against the curse of this world. However, we skipped over something very briefly. That was the first line here. "Can you accept the risks and responsibilities?" So the conceit of this first 30 seconds of the trailer is that somebody calls Lucifer and they have a lot to say to Lucifer. Now, a lot of people have been trying to figure out who the voice actor he is in these lines to kind of give us a hint as to who is calling and laying down the gauntlet to Lucifer, or like challenging what she did. But I don't think there's been any real... It's kind of masked and it's hard to really tell. The best readings I saw was that perhaps that it's Homo Lily's familiars, which do show up later in the trailer, that are challenging Lucifer. And we see Lucifer pinned, I suppose, some imagery later on that will kind of match what's going on here. We see the Inukuri, and they're confirmed to be doing the witch designs again. Of course, everyone's back. That's one of the things we learned in this trailer. There's one difference in the casting, or not casting, but staff that may come up later. But for now, we just know that this is Inukuri-esque, right? But we see the pins, right? The butterflies in the background. Don't look at the astrolabe. Don't look at the tarot card. We'll get to that. But right now, we're looking at the butterfly pins in the background. When we see the Homucifer image later, we also see her nailed. So perhaps there's some type of pinning or nailing or Homucifer being trapped, and perhaps she's issuing the challenge to, in a way, to come save her from herself or challenge her. Again, something conceptually and thematically that has me like super hyped, and would be very, or kind of uh, undoing rebellion. I guess maybe not undoing. Maybe that's a little broad, but it would be, what I'm getting from this trailer is that they're inviting us to uh, challenge the Homucifer position where she has put herself into this corner. So the pin symbology is really good. All right, what is Tarot Card 18? I didn't even look this up. Tarot Card 18. It is the moon. So this is tarot card things. I just know this from Persona 4. Tarot card the moon. What does the moon depict? It depicts a night scene with a moon. Okay, so this is supposed to be the moon. Again, a huge symbol at the end of Rebellion. It's half moon, I guess, which, again, huge symbol at the end of Rebellion. And you can see it exploded in much the same way. We saw Homer's imagery in the main series, in her house, kind of the clock, the astronomical clock, and the astrolabe stuff. What does the moon represent? Life of imagination apart from the spirit. Ooh, okay, fun. I'm sure all the people out there that are into the tarot stuff can give you a much better reading. Ooh, hidden enemies, danger, calamity. Okay. Darkness, terror, deception, error. Ooh, I like this. I like this. Ooh, error. I like it. Okay. So that's fun. That's a cool little symbol we have here. Oh, let's go back a bit. How do we go back a frame? And yeah, there we go. All right, we've got these spiral, what look like light filaments here. Maybe blood vials. Um, don't know about the rest of this imagery here. It might just be aesthetic for aesthetic qualities. This is Shinbo after all. But I am going to say that it looks very similar to the kind of protracted spiny phone calling thingy that we saw in the poster. All right, what do we got? We got a little blur here, and we've got Homura. This is a redesign of Homucifer. I think it's pretty clearly intended to be Homucifer, but a lot of people have bringing up connections with the Walpurgisnacht dress, which definitely can see if you look at it for 2 seconds. We also don't see her in her characteristic wings, aside from the black feathers down there. Man, boy, if that's a connection to the Magia record, I will be, oh boy, disappointed, let's say that. But nothing else in this screams a Magia record, so we're just going to go with maybe it isn't. All things considered, right, this first part, Homura taunting the audience. Okay. The next, what are we going to say, till about 30 seconds into the trailer is pure flashback. We're not going to super go over this a lot. It's some really great editing. It's very interesting. We have a big focus on Walpurgisnacht, and that is probably worth talking about. But the next 30 seconds are just a lot of clips of people's eyes, of recap, of showing where the characters are and what happened. And then the very interesting thing about these next 30 seconds is not what's shown here, but the voices in the background. We hear a lot of characters calling out and saying some random things. We see secret, a secret, don't tell anyone. There's one thing you must do. It's love, what nonsense. A magical girl, I don't know. Bring hope, right? That's the magical girl ethos, right? Just bring hope. Here's the one that I really like. Goodbye, release that girl. So these are voices that are either, within the concept of Homura as character, and they could be Homo Lily's familiars, right? They could be people external, they could be new characters, could be a million different readings on who these voices are, but they are voices that are diametrically opposed to the position of Homucifer. Release that girl. I don't think this can be really interpreted in any other way other than we are going to fight against the concept of Homucifer, my best friend. So there is a ton of forces pitted against Homucifer in this film. And hey, great. Like, I think that matches very closely with what we saw to the beginning of this trailer, and I think it is something that I'm here for. Let's briefly go over these kind of Evangelion inserts. I guess you could consider them Bakemonogatari-esque inserts, fucking Shinbo, but these kind of title cards or like silent film, here's what's happening, give us more of a context for Walpurgisnacht, right? A fool that spins round and round, mysterious witch from generation to generation. I talk about this a lot in my breakdown series. Walpurgisnacht, the gathering of witches in mountains in Germany, from on April 30th to May 1st, from the night of April 30th to May 1st. And it's a big witch celebration. Walpurgisnacht gets a lot of attention here. I do want to mention that Walpurgisnacht, like canonically in the series itself, when it was airing, there were a lot of theories that Walpurgisnacht could be Homura, and that Walpurgisnacht matches up with Kriemhild Gretchen in this way that it forms an hourglass, and a lot of these kind of theories that didn't pan out to be true. Maybe now we can revisit a couple of those, but I think the one that's gonna be irreconcilably true is the fact that Walpurgisnacht is a gathering of witches. This is core to like what Walpurgisnacht is in not only the series of Madoka Magica, but in real life as well. I feel that the film is certainly, from what we see in the next bit, going to be something about combination of witches or like synergy between magical girls, or I don't think they're going to make Walpurgisnacht like one solitary character unless that character is a combination of other characters. So yeah. While there are some shots that are equating Walpurgisnacht to Homura, like we saw back here in this outfit choice, right? I don't think that it's just going to make Homo Lily equals Homucifer equals Walpurgisnacht. I don't think it's going to go there. Instead, I see something more nuanced happening, and we'll get to that. Anyway, so the voices are coming for Homucifer. This is it. This is the shot that has everybody up in a tizzy. I mean, there's two in this trailer, but this is certainly one of them. Right here, we have a character wielding a dark rosewood bow with a coloring that seems to indicate that it is Homura's rosewood bow. I did take a photo of this very specifically. Where is it? Here it is. Here it is from Rebellion. You can see that, well, it doesn't really match up 1-to-1 exactly with Homura's rosewood bow, and because of the coloring, it certainly could be Madoka's. But I think it's very close to what we see out of the rosewood bow in episode 12 of Homura. So I'm going to say that what we're seeing in this right here is probably a representation of Homura's rosewood bow in episode 12. And, that's informed by the fact that we've already seen a lot of symbology regarding Homura in episode 12 being present in this film. So that's not, and we will see more later on in the trailer. So I don't think that's too ridiculous a thing to say. Let me see if I missed anything here. Focus on Walpurgis. We did that. 30-second recap. Okay. So when we're talking here, we're talking here about this character and what this is. This is not representative of any character so far. Now, One could be the lighting. Hearing people saying, "Oh, it's an adult Madoka." Hearing people saying, "Oh, it's mommy." Hearing people say, "Oh, it's, some character that we already know in a different form or a different universe or a different context or with different powers." I don't know that I love that reading. Instead, what I want to go with here, or what I'm getting out of this, we're definitely intended to view this as either Madoka or Homura's Rosewood Bow and the values that are associated with that. See my breakdown on episode 12 for everything that entails. Now, we're also knowing that somebody's fighting against Homucifer. And if the values Homura had at the end of episode 12 are opposed to Homucifer, which they are, you can again see my rebellion breakdown, that I think that this indicates that this character is going to be fighting against Homucifer in this film. Okay, fine, good. This design does not match any of the characters that we know. It just doesn't. It's really specifically intended not to invoke anybody. There's no character with these sleeves, and I would say that in all representations that we have of adult Homura and adult Madoka, neither of them have a bust like this. And I hate to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, we can tell by the boob size, but like honestly, we've seen in extended materials, we've seen adult Madoka, we've seen adult Homura, and they just don't have this figure. The hair does look like this. You've got the Madoka or the Sailor Moon-esque bow on the back of the outfit. So this is a unique Umeaoki character design. Guarantee it. So what I want to say is that if we interpret that this character takes up Homer's mantle, and there's one other thing. I've got a theory on who this is, but you're gonna have to wait till my predictions segment. But can I hit you with this? Let me go this. You know what we're doing? Turn the volume back on. Get ready for this. I'm gonna see if this is recording in OBS. If we're getting this. Okay, it's too low. Hold on. Let me crank it up. Go back another second, please. All right. Here you go. Here you go. Did you hear that? Do you know what that is? Do you know what that like 3-note segment is? That little frill? That what's the musical term for it? For like a oh boy, I know it, but I don't know it. Anyway, it's Sagita Luminis. It's the song that plays after Madoka makes her wish and then goes heals everybody. It's from the OST from episode 12 when Madoka's going to every magical girl ever and saving them. Incredibly, incredibly powerful to reference that song with this symbol of the bow and the arrow being drawn. It has to be a representation of Madoka's values, right? It has to be in some way aligned, I guess, with Madoka's values. Otherwise, you wouldn't do that audio frill there, that little melody. You wouldn't have that. That's a reference. That's a reference, baby. So yeah. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Do you know what this is? Oh, can we talk about this? I muted it, but go watch the official trailer. I'm not going to get a copyright strike again from playing this all. Yuki Kajiura new track underneath all of this trailer. It sounds so good. I mean, I went through after I finished my Madoka breakdown. One of the series I watched was Dot Hack, which is Yuki Kajiura, and it's just complete fire. She's so good, and I am possibly almost more hyped for the soundtrack of this film than I am for the actual film, which is crazy. Anyway, here we go. Next scene. Next shot that we get. What is it? It is Madoka pulling an Anthe. Yes, that's right. I know all of you listening to this have went and sat through my entire breakdown of Revolutionary Girl Utena, the adolescence of Utena, and boy, is this a reference. This is a reference to Anthe almost committing suicide in the Rose Garden, at the top of the Rose Garden, all above everything, and jumping off the corner of the precipice. And we see Madoka took her shoes off, and she just jumped. This clearly is Madoka, I think. I think we can... we can definitely say that this is Madoka safely. And what do we see in the background here? Yes, that's right. These are the globules, the transformation sequence for what we saw for Kriemhild Gretchen. Yes, in episode 10 of Madoka Magica. This, to me, is most definitely Madoka invoking Gretchen. Yeah, her witch form in this film, and I guess that's kind of an escalation of what Sayaka did in Rebellion when she controlled Octavia. But nonetheless, super cool. It shows that Madoka is going to be an active participant in this play, is going to be doing some stuff and making some stuff happen, not just being passive like she was in the series, or a bit of a weirder, deferred character like she was in Rebellion. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. That's all I've got to say. What do we have here? Oh, yes. I wanted to also bring up Wraith. That's interesting, considering where episode 12 left off. We also have Legendary Bestie that appears a couple times here. Just like literally the words Legendary Bestie. I know. I was as shocked as you were, but no, it definitely says Legendary Bestie right there. And the kanji is actually interesting. Looked it up. It's not a word. It's the first kanji is ma, so for shoujo, for majo, for witch, for magic. The symbol for the kanji for that. Second one, animal or beast. Very interesting. So that's that may tell you something about, I don't know, how they're perceiving Homucifer. I don't know. Maybe that is witch. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. But I believe it says magical beast. So that could be something. Maybe something along the lines of Doppels. Who knows? If Madoka is controlling Gretchen in the way that Sayaka and Bebe controlled their witch forms, then who knows? Maybe we'll get the Doppels. I don't know. There you go. Magia record on deck. All right, pressing on. Just this is a cool as hell shot, and I think that you see here you get dare da. Oh, let's go back a bit. We see dare da. That just is like who is, who is this? Who are you? And then the faces. I don't know the mouths. I don't know. That just seems like Inukuri stuff. I don't know if that's a symbol to anything in particular that we've seen or that we should associate with Gretchen in any way. Shimbo, what's up? It's good to see you. Love to hate him. Here we are. This is the other shot of what is ostensibly a new character. Honestly, you can see the blonde hair-ish. You can see, again, the more fully formed figure that doesn't equate it to anybody we know. Doesn't look like Mommy. It doesn't look like any other character that we've really seen in any of the extended franchise or universe. We don't really have a context for this. Again, I presume this is the same character as who was holding the bow earlier, and it may, of course, be related to Walpurgisnacht, because that's such a huge element of this film. It's in the title, after all. But we'll get to my predictions at the end of the video. The red ribbons, I don't know, spinning around. You don't get to see her face. A lot of people are saying it could be Mommy, because of the ribbon symbology, or it could be an element of Mommy, right? It could be. This is kind of where people are getting the combination of different girls. Definitely has some Homura design elements in this outfit, certainly. And we can see that the sleeves are different and the bow on the back is different than anything we know. So, but it does match the character we saw earlier in the trailer. So going off of that, probably this new character that's going to be central to the film, no matter who it is. But definitely does invoke some different elements of a couple of the casts. So I'm not going to discount the combination theory. I don't know if I have a lot to say about holding on to the red ribbons here. Um, Ribbons, again, I talked about those in relation to Mommy in the episode 1.5 of my Madoka Magica breakdown. The red string of fate, certainly a symbol that comes up later. Yeah, Generabuchi, yep. We are familiar with Generabuchi. Okay, some cool stuff. Didn't have much to say on this one. The setting, I guess there's a ton of these cranes, right? Of the ones that Homura jumped from episode 12. So that could be interpreted as a number of different Homuras. Could be a combination of Homuras. Maybe we'll see different kinds of Homuras. All the Homuras fighting each other. That could be cool. It could be a fun little thing. But we see pretty clearly what appears to be three figures or two figures and a pile of stuff on the top of this roof here. If you zoom all the way in, I don't think I can zoom in on NPC here, but yeah, right in the dead center, some three figures standing here. So maybe there's three figures that are working together against Homusafer. I don't know. What are they building? Another thing, we see a lot of construction imagery over the course of this film. So Homusafer crafting her new world, perhaps, feels very Rebellion in that way. Feels very, stage play, very prop heavy symbology, scaffolding. I don't know. Not a whole lot you can get from this one, honestly. Character design, Ume Aoki, yep. Did I say Aoi Yuki earlier in the video when I talked about character design? I might have messed that one up. All right, this is a callback to episode 1. Couple things here. This is, to most fans, intended to be a representation of Homusafer waiting for Madoka in the new world that she created at the end of Rebellion, of course. I think that's the primary intended reading. I saw a couple people saying this, again, was Walpurgis coded on Homusafer because of the umbrella. Sure, right? I think there's some type of also like vampire thing of being out in the sun. We saw that again with Homusafer being portrayed in the moonlight and also under the umbrella in the last scene of Rebellion. So maybe there's something plot related with that. She can't step into the light. Maybe there's going to be a big symbolic scene of her doing that later, and maybe it's going to be like a Castlevania thing where she just goes and fries herself in the sunlight. That would be funny. Oh, what do we got? Lilies? Is that Yuri? Is that a Yuri reading? Am I reading that right? Lilies on that flower petal thing. Nice. We've got falling water. Also, a lot of people just again coding the shape of this with Walpurgisnacht. I don't, in the witch form and the inverted everything with the gears. Not sure I see it. I see this more as a representation of the shitty flower scene that I hated so much in Rebellion. But, I don't think there's super great way of reading that. Okay, that's Kyoko. I don't know if you know Kyoko, but it's certainly Kyoko. There is something I wanted to say. Did we pass it already? Did they talk about character designs? Anyway, the yeah, we passed it already. Director. No, so the character designer for this film, I think it's coming up here. Yeah, so we've got Junichiro Taniguchi. Junichiro Taniguchi is credited as the character designer here, and they have worked on previous Madoka stuff, but the original character designer on the series, or character design for the series, was done by Takahiro Kishida. So that's probably why in these shots right here, things just look weird. Like that looks like a weird representation of Mommy. She has a slight redesign on her outfit, sure, but like, I don't know, that if that is like finished character art, that doesn't look like the Madoka Magica that I remember, right? Even Kyoko too kind of looks a bit weird, a bit flatter, or I don't know. I'm sure the production values on this movie are going to be off the charts like they were for Rebellion, and they've had 10 years for Shaft to just rake in money and go to town on it. So, you know, I don't expect anything less than top quality here, but I think it's weird that the character design does look a bit different than what I've seen in the past. Yeah. All right. Character designer. Okay, next point here. Cube AIs. I'm sure you're familiar. Here we go. This goes right into the next scene. There's all these papers flung into the air, and this nice kind of Monogatari shot again, Shinbo. But we see here, this comes in. The next shot comes in right after the person that flung it into the air. And we can see pretty clearly, based on the leggings, based on the hairstyle, based on everything, that this is episode 12, Homura Prime, who threw all the paper in the air. Now, paper book symbology, again, is kind of the third time I've kind of said Magia record, and I'm not like entirely sure, but like it did have some, right? But we see Homura Prime like triumphant here. I think we get a closer shot immediately following this one. No, we don't. But this tower is made of paper and books. We see some chains. We see some familiars or like ghosts, or I'm not really sure what these little characters are on this tower. This like spiral helix of paper and books. But we see Homura kind of looking at a sunset, triumphant on a chair. So chairs again used a ton. You can go through my breakdowns and see that also used very well in Rebellion and the final thing of Homucifer falling off the chair, etc., etc., etc. Chairs, just the reading that we maintain throughout most of the breakdown series is being that chairs are emblematic of a character's position, of a character being in the circumstances that are presented. So with only one chair that Homura Prime stands alone in this, and also like triumphant on the chair. And this contrasts directly with what we see of Homucifer later in the trailer. Gekidan Inukuri are back for the witch designs. I'm glad they're not in charge of the entire thing like Magia Record, although I love those guys, so good on Inukuri. Oh hey, it's Yuki Kajira. Definitely already talked about that one. And hey, Shaft. Oh wait. Did you see this? Did you see this? I don't even know if this is a thing, but just look at the background here on the Shaft. There's like a circle, and what? It's almost too abstract to even see, right? It's just a circle of something. Anyway. Chains, a symbol that we saw in episode 1 that we identified with. There's a subtext of chain. There's a subsection of my episode 1 video titled Chains, right? And here this symbol taken all the way from the first episode and put on this tower of books that we are seeing Homura Prime triumphant on. And it appears that perhaps Homura Prime's efforts have shackled away Homucifer at the bottom of this, because we see yes, a representation of Homucifer again with the wings on her a bit, literally pinned or nailed to the chair at the bottom here, and we see what you can see in the background here. If we look in the background, not behind the books and the papers, Homo Lily's familiars, which is very interesting. That Homo Lily, perhaps, man, that'd be really badass if Homura Prime has access to her witch form in Homo Lily, just as all Sayaka and Bebe. That would be metal as hell. I'm down for it. But apparently, Homucifer trapped and chained something. Perhaps the efforts of we don't know whether this is the beginning of the end or the narrative that Homura Prime stands triumphant over a chained and bound Homucifer, but I guess we'll see. Again, see that the close up of the enhanced grief seed soul gem, whatever she ate at the end of the thing, proving that it's It's Homura or Homucifer, and she just looks like done with it, right? Like, like she's in all the representations. I don't know. In the beginning, she kind of looks coy, right? She kind of looks okay. I'm in charge. I'm in power. Come at me. And then here we're seeing some type of representation of, oh boy, I've had enough of this, and I kind of want out. And I wonder if that would beget the redemption of Homucifer, which again is one of the paths I would take it down if I were in charge of this movie, and if I trust Gen Urobuchi to reconcile what he did in Rebellion. So anyway, we skipped over one huge thing. Do you remember what it was? Yes, it's bandages, Sayaka, and we skipped over it because what do I got to say about this? What is there to say about this? It's bandages, Sayaka. The only thing I can say about this is that this is our other concept movie reference, because in the concept movie, Sayaka has the Hannibal Lecter muzzle on for a shot in that, and there are so very many readings that you could go with on the face bandages for Sayaka and the ribbon off of them that I don't even want to begin to try. I don't even know where they're going with this. This strikes me in the same way as the poster and the telephone handle receptor. Like, what is this? I don't know what this is. This could be literally anything. So whatever, man. Uh, yeah, no, I I guess the cool that might just be a lighting thing that her tips are turning colors. Yeah, you can see it other places too. So I think it's just the lighting thing on the bandages. Um, this is just bait. This is just like something cool's gonna happen in this film. Come see it. Like, yeah, all right. Like I wasn't already gonna see it. Oh boy, what else we got to say about this? Let's see what else I read. Oh yeah, and so let the curtain rise on tonight's stream. This very cool callback to the first shot in the entire series, and the last shot, the curtain rising. That symbology also played out in Rebellion a little bit. The Curtain Rising, Madoka Magica was always a play. If you have not already, please go watch at least the first episode of my Madoka Magica breakdown series, where I talk about diegetic distance, how you are to consume Madoka Magica in at least two levels of diegetic distance between you and the work itself, and how Madoka Magica has always been a play. All right. Anything else that we want to say? Everybody's back. Everybody's back. I'm sure it's going to make buku bucks of money this winter. Let's get on to my predictions for Madoka Magica Walpurgisnacht Rising, which is the official English title of the film. Kaiten can mean a couple different things. It can mean changing the world, turning the tide in Jisho. It's also the name of a manned suicide torpedo used by the Japanese Navy in World War II. That's a fun fact. Where's my shot? Okay, we'll go with this one. This will be the what do you call it, thumbnail, because this is the poggers moment. All right, these are my predictions for Madoka Magica's fourth film. Are you ready for this? I'm calling that Walpurgisnacht is ultimately a force for good against Homucifer and Homucifer's transgressions on the normal timeline, normal in quotes. It maybe in some way the checkmate of Walpurgisnacht that it presented in the series is forcing Madoka's apotheosis in some sort of cyclical way, in some sort of meta narrative way, right? That Madoka was forced to play the role she did because of the force of Walpurgisnacht, and in that way, Walpurgisnacht exists to force Madoka to play that role and force that role to be needed. All right, that's a pretty bland one, but I think it does go against the prediction that everything is coding Homucifer to be associated with Walpurgisnacht. I see Walpurgisnacht as a force against Homucifer. It's my guess. And maybe that could be the inversion, I suppose. That would be really cool if that was the Generabuchi twisty, very twisty. I don't know. Furthermore, I believe that Homura Prime is one of the 21 or however many girls that were related to or fused with or became Walpurgisnacht, and also possibly Madoka as well. Yeah, that's right. I think that Walpurgisnacht is the magical girl spirit bomb or like fusion, and I believe that is the character we're looking at in this trailer. I believe this character to be Walpurgisnacht, like quote unquote, but a representation of all the different characters that contributed to be Walpurgisnacht in magical girl form. And that's not wild. We see the magical girls that contributed to make Walpurgisnacht, or at least the familiars or some representations of them in episode 12 of Madoka Magica. So, like, I don't think that we're too far out there, but it could be a really cool way of bringing everybody into the climax, making everybody matter, and then also giving this kind of, secret hidden, oh, who is this new character kind of thing. It would also lend credence to why they have the bow here, because Madoka and Homura, or Homura Prime, being subsumed into the Walpurgisnacht character, could manifest the bow and their values that go along with the bow. I think that's generally my prediction for the film. I think that's what we will see. And I think that, it's a good bet to say that maybe we're being baited in this intro. Where is it? Right here in this shot. I would say that there's a high likelihood that we will be expected to see Homucifer as the villain, and then perhaps by the end of it, maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be. But at least that first level of how we're attempting to read this, yeah. The spirit bomb against Homucifer. And you know what? Great. I'm here for it. Even if they do some twisty stuff at the end, even if it does create or pull some Homucifer planned it all along that Walpurgisnacht would exist, or etc. I don't know. I don't know where Gen Urobuchi's going to go on this, but I'm here for the redemption of Homucifer. I am here for all the cool fan service that's being promised and teased in this film. And I am here for episode 12, Homura Prime, to be the main character and to get some good redemption for all you motherfuckers out there. And you know who you are. You watch my series, you comment on my videos, who said that, oh, Homucifer is the correct way. She's true to what Homura was in the series, and it's not a deviation. I'm so ready for you to eat your words. And I'm so ready for this film to portray that. And I'm also ready to be entirely wrong and for me to look like a complete idiot. So anyway, yep. Once again, I will be talking a lot with people who know a lot of things about a lot of things related to this film when the film comes out. I will be... so stay subscribed and click that bell to make sure you don't miss the content. Got some other great content coming up, including, this is a tease for everybody who watched to the end of this video, I commissioned a Madoka Magica AMV. So that will be going up on my channel sooner or later. So definitely stay tuned for that. And thank you once again for listening to my ramblings. Wow, I went for about an hour. Jeez. All right. Love you all a long time.